before they put the mask on, before they gave me any kind of IV drip, anesthesiologist never walked in. I looked to my right, and Jesus walks through the door. I mean, I knew instantly it was Jesus, and I thought, oh boy, I died. The next day, the surgeon came in, and he goes, I wasn't exactly truthful with you. It wasn't the worst case I've ever seen, but yours is the worst case I've ever seen where the patient lived. And he says, you shouldn't be here.
Wow.
And then he actually said to me, this chokes me up. He actually said to me, God's not done with you yet. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Here After Heaven. I'm Mike McKinsey, author of the best-selling book, I Held the Hand of Jesus in Heaven. On today's episode, as promised, I'm going to take you behind the scenes at Proverbs Media Group when I took a trip to Tucson, Arizona a couple months ago. This is going to be fun. Tucson sits in the beautiful Sonoran Desert at about 2,600 feet above sea level, and with more than 300 days of sunshine a year, chances are pretty good you're going to see some blue skies when you visit. But despite being in the desert, Tucson actually has a pretty dramatic summer monsoon season, with thunderstorms running from around mid-July through mid-September. Kind of reminded me of Chattanooga. And here's a fun fact I learned about Tucson. The historic El Charro Cafe opened in 1922 and says it's the oldest continually operated Mexican restaurant in the United States, still run by the same family. Tucson tourism sources also credit it as the birthplace of the chimichanga. So apparently somebody dropping a burrito into a deep fryer turned out to be a pretty good mistake. Yeah, I'll say it's one of my favorites. Tucson's also home to the University of Arizona, which was founded in 1885, 27 years before Arizona even became a state. And Tucson is only about 70 miles north of the Mexican border, which helps explain the strong Sonoran and Mexican influence you see throughout the city. But I didn't come all the way to Tucson just to sightsee. I was invited there by Proverbs Media Group, and they put me up in a really nice hotel downtown. And I have to tell you, I've stayed in a lot of hotel rooms over the years, but I don't think I've ever stayed in one that had my own personal gym right inside my room. At first I thought, what exactly are they trying to tell me? But once I got used to it, I have to admit, it was kind of nice. The next day I headed downtown to film at Treasury 1929. This place was incredible. It's an old bank building that's been converted into a wedding and event venue. The building has 3 floors. You can still find old bank vaults throughout it. The top floor is mostly offices. The main floor is where they hold the weddings and events. But the real surprise was downstairs. That's where we filmed the episode. Believe it or not, we filmed inside a bar with these old bank vault rooms on either side that have been turned into modern-day speakeasy-style rooms. It was such a unique place and an amazing setting for an interview. While the crew was setting everything up, I had some time to walk around and explore. I kept thinking, what a great place to film. So here are a few highlights from our episode. I'll be sure to put a link to the full interview in the description so you can watch the whole thing.
Were you cognizant of actually how sick you were, or were you just kind of out of it?
I really had no idea I was that sick.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, the whole time I just passed it off as a flu.
Wow.
I realize I'm a guy and we don't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So good lesson for for guys out there. You get some symptoms, it's worth getting checked out.
Absolutely.
Instead of just saying, it's just a flu, just figure,
tough it out.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my gosh.
So the minute I get over to the surgical table, before they put the mask on, before they gave me any kind of IV drip, anesthesiologist never walked in. I look to my right and Jesus walks through the door as a physical person.
What did he look like?
He was wearing a white robe. He was probably 6 feet tall.
Wow.
He had dark, wavy brown hair, short beard, and his eyes were like this greenish blue. And when his eyes looked into my eyes, he looked into my soul. I knew instantly it was Jesus. And I thought, oh boy, I died.
So you knew.
So as the nurses are leaving, I describe it like this, like I felt a holy presence enter my room again. And my mom, when her mother passed away, she said she was with her at her home by my grandfather on the other side, not the one that funeral I went to. On the other side, he was a nurse. They were from Holland. So they came over here when mom was 16 years old.
Wow.
So he was a registered nurse. So he wanted, my grandmother died of cancer and she wanted to die at home. So mom was in the room when she took her last breath, and she said, she told me about it one time. She said, Mike, I felt the holy presence enter the room. And I used to always bug her, like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? It's got to be more to the story. And she would cry, and she said, that's the only way I know how to describe it.
Wow.
So when I felt that, I flashed back to mom telling me that, and I thought, okay, I get it now. So I knew that Jesus was back in the room as these other people were leaving it. And I could tell he pulled up a chair. He sat down at the end of my bed. But I couldn't see him, but I knew he was there. Here's the crazy part. I hear him say, Michael. Same voice that I heard when he said, I want to answer your prayer. So I knew it was Jesus. He says, Michael. And I look over at the nurse like, did you hear that? You know?
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything. And he says, Michael again. And I look at the nurse and I said, did you say something? And she says, no. She says, try the spirometer again. So marble doesn't move. So Jesus says, I'm calling you out to do more for my kingdom.
Oh, wow.
One verse that I love to read, it says, ask anything in my name and I'll give it to you, as long as the Father gets the glory. So I always say all the glory goes to God the Father. Jesus is giving me a way to reach people that would not go on YouTube, would not go into church,
Right.
would not crack open a Bible.
Right.
He's reaching people through these YouTube testimonies.
Yeah.
And I'm just thrilled to be part of that. I know I'm a small part, but it's amazing to me. One of the things that really stood out to me about this trip wasn't where we filmed, it was the people I met. I can't say enough good things about the folks at Proverbs Media Group. Jackie, their CEO, is an amazing person who loves Jesus, and I also got to spend some time with her husband, Brian. Brian has a pretty interesting story of his own. He runs Paradise Parrot Rescue in Tucson. When he first told me that, I immediately asked, are there really that many parrots that need rescuing? Apparently there are, but they don't just help parrots. They care for many different kinds of birds, and they'll even make house calls to help people with their birds. I thought that was really cool. I'll put links to their social media in the description because Brian has built an incredible following, and you really need to check out what they're doing.
Okay, so a little bit of backstory on Proverbs Media Group. The founder, Elaine Beck, 6 or 7 years ago, God gave her a vision and said, you need to reach the masses, and you need to teach people about God, family, and country. And I'll kind of fast forward and abbreviate, but after that vision happened, she was very blessed. She was a housekeeper her entire life, very poor, and she met a man. His name is Bob, and they got married. And she did not know anything about him. They met and they got married in 3 months, and he ended up being a very wealthy man. And so God used her to start Proverbs Media Group, and it's always been about God, family, country. She's very politically involved. It started off with Blessings Through Action, and then the studio, and now so we have a full state-of-the-art studio. We have even Dr. Ben Carson. He comes over. It's the nicest studio that he's ever been in, and it's such an honor to be a part of it and be able to spread the gospel and intertwine politics with that, because I think a lot of churches are so afraid to involve church and politics, but Jesus was the ultimate politician.
Yeah.
He started it all.
Yeah.
And so we work really hard to educate people on how to intermingle politics and religion, or Christianity, and what that looks like. And we feel like it's our responsibility as Christians to go out and vote, to know that we have a voice, and God gave us this voice,
Yeah.
and it's priceless.
Yep, absolutely.
And the YouTube page is now almost to 1 million subscribers. So
Wow.
it's really exciting to see
Yeah,
the word get out.
yeah.
That is amazing.
It's amazing to be a part of it.
That's
and
cool.
See, even if it's just one life, or impact one person, that's worth it. But God has given us a platform to impact thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
So it's really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good job, guys. Back to lunch.
Back to lunch.
Back to lunch.
After a long day of filming, I headed back to the hotel to get some rest and started thinking about getting back to my girls at home. All in all, it was a very successful trip. I really enjoyed Tucson, but even more than that, I enjoyed the people I met at Proverbs Media Group. I can't say enough about the work they're doing, and I hope you'll follow them on YouTube and Facebook and support the wonderful work they're doing for the kingdom. But there's one more part of this trip that I wasn't expecting. After I came home from Tucson, I realized something had changed. Something spiritually inside of me. It's actually difficult for me to explain. To be honest, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but I know something happened. I felt like the Holy Spirit had done something in me. My faith felt stronger. My conviction about the message Jesus has given me became stronger. And my desire to tell people about Jesus and spread the gospel became even greater. I went to Tucson thinking I was going there to film an interview. I came home realizing that maybe God had another reason for sending me there. Sometimes I think that's how God works. We think we know why He's taking us somewhere, but He may be doing something much bigger than we realize at the time. God bless.